Welcome to our deep dive into Scott Galloway's The Algebra of Wealth. You've shared some great recaps covering diversification, focus, stoicism, and time. We're excited to unpack those and see what actionable nuggets we can extract.
Galloway's approach is really refreshing, isn't it? He goes beyond just making money and delves into the mindset and habits that contribute to long-term wealth building.
Right. One of the recaps dives straight into diversification, starting with the idea that wealth building isn't just about your income, but how you invest that money to create more value. It's like planting seeds, not just harvesting. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a crucial shift in perspective. Think about it this way. Instead of just trading your time for money, you're using your money to buy you a piece of other people's time and productivity. You become a part owner in businesses and ventures, allowing your money to work for you even while you sleep.
Ah, the power of passive income. The recap also emphasizes diversification, spreading your investments across different assets. But it doesn't just advocate for chasing the highest possible return. Instead, it highlights the importance of steady, long-term gains and leveraging the power of compound interest.
Exactly. Let's say you invest $10,000 and earn a modest 7% return annually. After 30 years, that initial investment could grow to over $76,000 thanks to the magic of compounding. That's the snowball effect in action.
So starting early and letting those returns compound over time is key, even if the initial amounts seem small. But the recap also mentions risk. How do you see risk playing into this?
Risk and return are two sides of the same coin. While everyone wants high returns, it's crucial to understand that higher potential returns usually come with higher risk. It's like choosing between a safe, predictable savings account with a low interest rate and investing in the stock market, which can fluctuate wildly but offers the potential for greater gains.
And the time value of money comes into play here, right?
Absolutely. Money today is worth more than the same amount promised tomorrow because of its potential to grow. So delaying investing, even if it's due to fear or uncertainty, can actually cost you significant potential returns in the long run.
That's an important reminder to be proactive and start investing as early as possible, even with small amounts. Now, in terms of practical advice, the recap suggests investing in passive, diversified, low-cost securities like ETFs. What exactly are ETFs and why does Galloway seem to favor them?
ETFs, or exchange-traded funds, are essentially baskets of stocks or bonds that track a specific market index. For instance, instead of buying individual shares of Apple, Google, and Amazon, you could buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, giving you exposure to all 500 companies in that index. This offers instant diversification and is often much more cost-effective than managing individual stocks.
So it's like a one-stop shop for instant diversification and lower fees. Makes sense. But does this mean Galloway is completely against active investing, trying to pick individual stocks and time the market?
Not necessarily. He suggests setting aside a small percentage of your portfolio for active investing if you enjoy it and want to potentially outperform the market. However, he strongly cautions against day trading, which involves buying and selling stocks rapidly to profit from short-term price fluctuations. It's highly risky and often leads to losses for individual investors.
So diversifying through ETFs as a core strategy, maybe a little active investing on the side, but stay away from day trading. Got it. The recap also touches on buying a home. I'm curious about his perspective on that.
Galloway views buying a home primarily as a life stage decision rather than a pure investment. It's about finding a place to live that fits your lifestyle and needs, and building equity over time. He emphasizes the importance of being aware of property taxes, maintenance costs, and the potential illiquidity of real estate compared to other investments.
So it's not about jumping into the housing market slightly for potential profit, but about making a choice that aligns with your personal goals and financial situation. Now, shifting gears a bit, another recap you provided focuses on the concept of focus. It highlights the importance of directing our attention, time, and energy towards the most productive opportunities to achieve financial well-being. I love how Galloway advocates for following our talent, not just our passion.
It's a powerful distinction. While passion is important, talent is often the key to achieving true mastery and success. He encourages us to identify what we excel at and focus on honing those skills. It's about becoming so good at something that people can't ignore you.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where our skills and interests intersect and then relentlessly pursuing excellence in that area. But it's not just about individual effort, is it? He also talks about the importance of market dynamics and finding opportunities where they are greatest.
Right. Even those talented individuals can struggle if they're in a declining industry or a market that's already saturated. Think of it like trying to sell ice to Eskimos. Even with the best sales skills, you're facing an uphill battle. Galloway suggests aligning your talents with industries that are growing and in demand, increasing your chances of success.
So understanding the larger economic landscape and identifying areas of opportunity is key. But it's not all about industry and market trends. The recap also highlights the importance of working in a positive, supportive culture with people who bring out the best in you.
Yes, having a strong team and a positive work environment can have a huge impact on your job satisfaction, productivity, and overall success. It's about surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth.
It's about finding a tribe that celebrates your wins and supports you through challenges. Now, I know Galloway has some strong opinions about working in cities and physical offices, especially in today's remote work environment. What are your thoughts on that?
While he acknowledges that the nature of work is evolving, he argues that cities offer more opportunities for networking, collaboration, and serendipitous encounters that can lead to career advancement. He believes physical offices foster a sense of community and provide a more structured environment for productivity.
So it's about weighing the pros and cons of remote work versus being in a physical office and making a choice that aligns with your personal preferences and career goals. And he also brings up the importance of knowing when to quit. I find that particularly interesting.
Persistence is valuable, but it's equally important to recognize when a situation is no longer serving you. It's about balancing perseverance with the need to avoid unproductive situations and wasted effort. Sometimes walking away can be the best way to open yourself up to new opportunities and growth.
So it's about staying flexible and adaptable and being willing to course correct when needed. Now, the recap even mentions pruning hobbies. How does that tie into the overall theme of focus?
Galloway suggests letting go of hobbies that no longer contribute to your personal growth or fulfillment. It's about focusing your time and energy on activities that truly matter and align with your goals, whether those are professional, personal, or financial. It's about being intentional with how you spend your time and energy.
It's like decluttering your schedule and your mind to make room for what truly matters. Now let's dive into the third recap, which delves into Stoicism. I'm fascinated by how Galloway connects this ancient philosophy to modern wealth building.
It's a surprising but insightful connection. Stoicism emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in accordance with nature. Galloway argues that these principles can be incredibly valuable when applied to financial decision-making. He highlights the importance of aligning your actions with your intentions and building long-term character.
So it's not just about making money, but about making choices that align with your values and contribute to your overall well-being. What I appreciate is that he's not advocating for becoming an emotionless robot.
Exactly. He encourages acknowledging your emotional responses to situations, but not letting those emotions dictate your actions. It's about recognizing that emotions can be powerful drivers, but they don't always lead to the best decisions, especially when it comes to finances.
It's about being self-aware and making conscious choices rather than reacting impulsively. And he stresses the importance of slowing down and being mindful of unconscious decisions, right?
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and make financial decisions on autopilot. Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and make deliberate choices that align with our long-term goals.
So taking a moment to consider the potential consequences of our financial decisions, both positive and negative, is key. And I love how he differentiates planning from action, emphasizing that it's action that ultimately drives results.
Yes, you can have the most elaborate financial plan, but if you don't take consistent action, it's meaningless. It's about translating your knowledge and intentions into concrete steps that move you closer to your goals.
It's about turning those plans into reality. And this is where habit formation comes into play, right?
Absolutely. Building positive financial habits like saving regularly, tracking expenses, and investing consistently can make a significant difference in your long-term wealth-building journey. It's about creating systems and routines that automate good financial behavior.
So it's not just about willpower, but about setting up systems that support our financial goals. Now, even with the best planning and action, the recap acknowledges the role of luck in shaping outcomes. This is something we often overlook.
It's a reminder that we don't have complete control over everything in life, and sometimes unexpected events can impact our financial trajectory. However, by making smart choices and taking consistent action, we can increase our chances of success and mitigate the impact of those unforeseen events.
So it's about being prepared, but also being adaptable and resilient when those unexpected challenges arise. And one of the things we can control is our health. He mentions the link between regular exercise and positive outcomes, not just physically, but mentally and even financially.
It's true. Regular exercise can boost energy levels, improve focus, and reduce stress, all of which can contribute to making better financial decisions and having the energy to pursue your goals.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's not just about financial strategies, but about cultivating a holistic approach to wealth building that encompasses mindset, habits, and overall well-being.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful habits he recommends is reviewing past decisions to learn from both successes and mistakes.
It's about taking the time to analyze your past financial choices, understanding what worked and what didn't, and using those insights to make better decisions in the future. I'm always a fan of learning from experience.
It's about continuously refining your approach and adapting to new information and circumstances. And this ties into his encouragement to take calculated risks. He suggests that we often regret the things we didn't do more than the ones we did.
It's about recognizing that missed opportunities can be more costly than experiencing setbacks. It's about embracing the potential for growth that comes with stepping outside our comfort zone.
And he emphasizes the importance of building a strong network, seeking out mentors and advisors who can offer guidance and support along the way.
So, surrounding yourself with people who can share their knowledge, experiences, and perspectives can be incredibly valuable. It's like having a team of cheerleaders and coaches in your corner.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final recap, which focuses on the critical role of time in wealth building. I think this is where it gets really interesting.
I'm all ears. Let's explore the power of time in the next part of our deep dive.
Galloway emphasizes that time is your most valuable asset when it comes to building wealth. It's finite and irreplaceable, so using it wisely is crucial. It's not just about how much money you make, but how much time you have to let that money grow.
It's like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. We can't get back lost time, but we can start making the most of it now.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful ways to leverage time is through compound interest. It's essentially earning interest on your interest.
I've heard it described as the eighth wonder of the world, but I admit I still struggle to fully grasp how powerful it can be.
Imagine you invest $1,000 and earn a 7% annual return. After the first year, you'd earn $70 in interest, bringing your total to $1,070. But in the second year, you're not just earning interest on the initial $1,000, you're also earning interest on that $70 you made in the first year. So your money starts growing faster and faster over time.
So the longer you let your money compound, the more dramatic the results become. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, picking up more and more snow as it goes.
Precisely. That's why starting early is so crucial, even if you can only invest small amounts initially. Time is your greatest ally when it comes to compound growth.
But on the flip side, we have inflation, which can erode the purchasing power of money over time.
That's right. Inflation is a sneaky thief that silently chips away at the value of your savings. What you could buy with $100 10 years ago might cost you $120 or more today. That's why it's crucial not just to save, but to invest in assets that have the potential to outpace inflation.
So we need our money to grow faster than the rate of inflation to maintain its purchasing power. It's not enough to just tuck it away in a savings account.
Exactly. And that brings us to the importance of having a healthy and rational awareness of money. The recap advocates for tracking your spending to gain insights into your financial habits.
It's like shining a light on your spending patterns. It can be eye-opening to see where your money is actually going. Do you have any tips for effective spending tracking?
There are many great apps and tools available that can help you track your spending automatically. You can also use a simple spreadsheet or even a notebook to jot down your expenses. The key is to be consistent and honest with yourself about where your money's going.
And once you have a clear picture of your spending, you can start making more informed decisions about where to cut back and where to allocate more resources. The recap also stresses the importance of saving consistently, even if it's in small amounts.
Yes, it's about developing the habit of saving and making it a non-negotiable part of your budget. Even setting aside a small amount each month can add up over time, especially when you factor in the power of compound interest.
It's like building a financial muscle. The more you practice saving, the easier it becomes. Now, Galloway also cautions against financial commitments like subscriptions and payment plans. Why is that?
While those recurring expenses might seem small individually, they can quickly add up and create a significant drain on your finances. It's easy to fall into the trap of subscribing to multiple streaming services, meal kits, or gym memberships that you may not fully utilize.
It's about being mindful of those recurring expenses and evaluating whether they truly align with your needs and priorities. Maybe it's time to do a subscription audit, so it's not just about earning and saving, but also about spending wisely and being conscious of where our money is going.
Absolutely. And that's where budgeting comes in. The recap suggests stabilizing your spending by creating a head-above-water budget that covers your essential expenses.
I love that visual, a budget that gives you some breathing room while still allowing you to meet your financial obligations.
Yes, it's about creating a realistic budget that you can stick to, and that provides a buffer for unexpected expenses. It's also important to remember that budgets aren't static.
You mean they should evolve as our lives and financial situations change?
Exactly. Your budget should reflect your current needs and priorities. It's about being flexible and adjusting your budget as needed to accommodate those changes.
So if you get a raise, you might adjust your savings goal, or if you decide to have a family, your budget will need to reflect those new expenses.
Precisely. It's about being proactive and making adjustments to your budget as needed to ensure it's still serving you well. Now, the recap also suggests setting achievable, short-term savings goals to stay motivated and track progress.
I find that having those milestones, those small wins along the way, can be incredibly motivating. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by a large, long-term goal, you break it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly. And it's easier to track your progress and celebrate those small victories, which can keep you motivated and on track.
So instead of just focusing on saving for retirement, which can feel very far off, you might set a goal to save for a down payment on a house, a dream vacation, or even just building an emergency fund. Those smaller goals feel more tangible and achievable.
Yes. And once you achieve those smaller goals, you can build momentum and confidence to tackle even bigger financial goals.
It's like training for a marathon. You start with shorter runs and gradually increase the distance as you gain strength and stamina. Now, the recap also introduces the concept of mindful spending. What does that mean in practice?
Mindful spending is about making conscious choices aligned with your values and goals. It's about pausing before you make a purchase and asking yourself, do I really need this? Does this align with my goals? How will this impact my financial well-being? It's about shifting from impulsive spending to intentional spending.
So it's about being present in the moment when making spending decisions rather than just swiping your credit card without thinking. It's about considering the long-term impact of our choices. Now, in terms of organizing expenses, how does Galloway suggest we approach that?
He recommends dividing your expenses into 3 buckets: day-to-day expenses, intermediate expenses like tuition or a down payment on a house, and long-term investments like retirement savings.
And how should we approach saving for those different buckets? They all seem pretty important.
He suggests keeping your intermediate bucket, which is for goals that are a few years out, funded with low-risk, liquid assets. These are investments that you can easily access if you need cash quickly without incurring significant losses.
So something like a high-yield savings account or a short-term bond fund would be a good fit for that intermediate bucket.
Exactly. For long-term investments like retirement savings, he emphasizes maximizing employer-sponsored pension plans, especially when employers offer matching contributions.
It's like getting free money. It's hard to beat those employer matching contributions, so taking full advantage of those is crucial. Finally, the recap reminds us that unexpected challenges and mistakes are inevitable. Life rarely goes according to plan, right?
That's true. It's important to remember that setbacks are a part of life, and they don't have to derail your financial progress.
So it's not about being perfect, but about being adaptable and resilient.
Exactly. He emphasizes the importance of adjusting your plans rather than giving up when faced with challenges. It's about learning from those experiences and using them as opportunities for growth.
It's about having a growth mindset, even when it comes to finances. This has been such a fascinating exploration of Galloway's insights on time, budgeting, and navigating the ups and downs of our financial journeys. I'm curious, what are your key takeaways from what we've discussed so far?
Yeah, for me, the power of compound interest really hit home. Starting early, even with small amounts, can make a huge difference in the long run. It's a powerful reminder to be proactive and not let procrastination steal away those potential gains. I agree. The earlier you start investing, the more time your money has to grow exponentially. And what resonated with me was the concept of mindful spending. It's so easy to get caught up in the cycle of consumerism and make purchases without really thinking about their long-term impact.
It's about aligning our spending with our values and goals. It's a shift in perspective that I think can be incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. And I love Galloway's emphasis on viewing setbacks as opportunities for growth. It's a reminder that we're all going to make mistakes along the way, but it's how we learn and adapt from those experiences that ultimately determines our success.
It's about embracing that growth mindset and viewing challenges as stepping stones on our path to financial well-being. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, Galloway's connection between Stoicism and wealth building. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Stoicism as a philosophy emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in accordance with nature. These principles can be incredibly valuable when applied to financial decision-making. For example, Stoicism encourages self-control and delayed gratification.
So instead of giving in to impulse purchases or chasing get-rich-quick schemes, we focus on making choices that benefit our long-term financial well-being, even if they require sacrifices in the short term.
Exactly. Stoicism also emphasizes accepting what you can't control and focusing on what you can. In the context of finances, this means acknowledging that market fluctuations and economic downturns are inevitable. We can't control those external factors, but we can control how we respond to them.
Instead of panicking and making rash decisions, we can focus on things within our control, like diversifying our investments, sticking to our savings plan, and managing our expenses wisely.
Right. Stoicism provides a framework for navigating uncertainty and making sound choices even when faced with challenges. And that resilience, that ability to weather storms, is crucial for long-term financial success.
It's about staying the course even when things get tough. And I think it's important to note that Galloway's interpretation of Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or becoming a robot.
Absolutely not. It's about acknowledging our emotions, but not letting them dictate our actions. It's about responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively.
It's about finding that balance between our emotional and rational selves, especially when it comes to making financial decisions.
This has been such an insightful exploration of Galloway's The Algebra of Wealth. It's amazing how he weaves together these different concepts, diversification, focus, stoicism, and the power of time, to create a comprehensive approach to building wealth.
He provides a roadmap not just for financial success, but for a more intentional and fulfilling life. Before we wrap up, I have one final thought for our listeners. If you could ask Scott Galloway one question about building wealth, what would it be?
That's a great question. If I could only ask one, it would be, knowing what you know now, what's the single most important piece of advice you would give your younger self about building wealth?
Ooh, I love that question. I bet his answer wouldn't be about a specific investment strategy, but about mindset habits or perhaps the importance of time and patience.
I think you're right. It would be about those fundamental principles that underpin long-term financial success.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you with that thought-provoking question. We hope this deep dive into Scott Galloway's The Algebra of Wealth has given you some valuable insights and actionable takeaways.
Remember, it's not just about absorbing information, but about applying these principles to your own life.
So take some time to reflect on what resonated most with you. What are you going to do differently going forward? What habits will you cultivate? What changes will you make to your financial plan?
And don't forget to share your thoughts and questions with us on social media. We love hearing from you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building your wealth.